Bonjour Français 2, voici la deuxième moitié de votre leçon, the second half of your lesson coming up. Here we go.
The relative pronouns qui, que, and tu. The relative pronouns qui, que, and tu refer to something previously mentioned in the sentence. You can use relative pronouns to combine short sentences. You could say, je mange un sandwich. Ce sandwich est bon. Or you could combine the sentences using a relative pronoun. Je mange un sandwich. When you combine the two sentences, the sentence sandwich gets replaced by qui. Here you can need to use qui because it is the
Subject of the sentence. Okay, it cuts off because I did a little, okay, so here's what you should write down. You remember, you're not going to learn don't this year. You're going to learn it in French 3, but don't worry, you'll be fine. Okay, and so this is what you should have written down. Okay, here you need to use qui because it is the subject of the verb est. All right, moving on. This is what page 30. Okay, so in your packet, page 30, you have a little picture of Paris here. So you just have a little example of how to combine the sentences with qui. And you notice that a verb, a conjugated verb, follows qui. So the relative pronoun qui may refer to people or things. It can be either one. It is the subject of the verb that follows it. All right, sometimes it's just fun to have an accent. Okay, so you are going to combine these sentences using qui. And here's the example. And it's on page 30. Je rencontre un copain. And then you say again, il va au cinéma. So you're going to take away the second, the repetition of un copain, which is il, and you're going to just replace it with qui. And so, je rencontre un copain qui va au cinéma. Okay? So press pause. Go ahead and do this for these 8 sentences, and then we'll come back and I'll show you the responses. Bravo, bon travail. Voici les réponses. And you notice that after qui is always a conjugated verb. Okay, we're going to do, and here it is in French. As-tu remarqué? Did you notice? Il faut conjuguer le verbe après qui. Okay, next. We're going to skip page 31. You're going to go all the way to 32. And you're going to do one more activity so that we can now, you're going to make some sentences with qui. Okay, so put it on pause. And then when you're done, come back and press play. Bravo, vous avez fini. Okay, so here's what you should have. Sont les filles qui jouent au volley sur la plage. Pierre est le garçon qui nage dans la mer. Stéphanie est la fille qui fait de la planche à voile. Et Vincent et Eric sont les garçons qui font du jogging. Okay? Okay, now we're going to move on to que.
You could say, j'ai vu 2 films. J'ai aimé ce film. Or you could combine the sentences using a relative pronoun. J'ai vu 2 filles que j'ai aimées. Here, the second fille gets replaced by que. You need to use que because it is the direct object of the verb in aimer. And the possible composer the past participle, the policeman that now could represent.
Represents. Okay.
You could
Oh, here's what you should have written down. J'ai vu deux films. J'ai aimé ces deux films. So you see here, you already have a subject. And this is the direct object. What did you see? What did you love? And one of the trickier pieces of this is adding this S at the end. I would never test you on this in French 2. That would only be a bonus. So in French 4, I often have to go back and reteach that because the students forget that when it's a direct object, you have to make it agree. So, les vacances que nous avons passées, vacances is féminin and pluriel, and you have a que, so you need to add e and s to that. Well, it should be above the line, but there it is. Okay. Now, tourne à la page 33. Here is your little kind of reference sheet for que. So, j'ai des voisins, je les invite. So you have a direct object. So you're going to say, j'ai des voisins que j'invite. And you notice after que, you have a subject. Okay? Same thing in the second one. Nous allons dans un café. Je ne le connais pas. Nous allons dans un café que je ne connais pas. The relative pronoun que may refer to people or things, just like qui. It is the direct object of the verb that follows it. And you might have noticed that there's a subject after. So a little rappel, a little reminder. This is on page 33. You're still here. You're in the center of the page. Qui remplace un sujet? Okay? Que remplace un objet direct? Oop, the que needs to move over a little. Que j'achète. Okay? Okay, so you're going to do two activities with que. The first one is simply filling in the blank with a response that you decide makes sense. Like, une ville que je voudrais visiter, you could put Paris, you could put Québec, you could put San Francisco, whatever, Sacramento, whatever you want. Une ville que j'aime, you could use the same one, Paris, et, so you need the subject and you need the verb a. Okay? So put it on pause, go ahead and do it, and then come back when you're done. And here are some answers that you, well, basically, Paris est une ville que j'aime, something est un magazine que je lis, okay? So I don't have the answers for those because it's really just like number one, but with your answer. Okay, the second one I would like you to do is you're actually going to have to make a sentence. So you're going to explain, expliquer ce que vous faites et ce que vous ne faites pas suivant le modèle. You're going to have to explain what you do and what you don't do following the model. So you're going to have an idea given to you, like le français est une langue. Okay, so French is a language. Okay, yes, it is. We can all agree. Parlez bien, and you're going to say, is a language that you speak well or you don't speak well? Biology is a matière is a subject. Is it a subject that you study? Is Espanol a langue that you understand? Is San Francisco a ville that you know? Are your voisins people that you see often? Is the President of the United States someone that you admire? And is Oprah Winfrey someone you find that is interesting? Okay? So here are possible responses. I'm going to move myself up to the top so you can see. And of course, these are my answers, not yours. Okay. Now, this is the tricky part. knowing when to use qui and when to use que. Okay, this is page 35. Qui, the choice between qui and que is determined by their function in the sentence. As we've already said, qui is the subject of the verb that follows it. Que is the direct object of the verb that follows it. So here we're going to compare. Alice est une fille qui a beaucoup d'humour. She's very funny. C'est une fille que je connais bien. So here you have the subject, here you have the direct object. Okay, same thing here. You have qui a, you have a verb conjugated right after it, and here you have que with a subject after it. Okay, so we're going to do 2 practices with these, and then you're going to do the listening practice on your own, which I've attached to the Google Classroom. Okay, so here we go. You're going to choose qui ou que. So be careful if you have an indirect object, you still argue that this is not a subject, so you still are going to use qui. So here you have a subject, so you're going to use que. Numéro 3, you have a subject, and you also see that you have something that is in agreement, so you know it's a direct object, so you're going to use que. Next, you have a verb right after the blank. So you know that you're going to have a subject, so you're going to be using qui. And finally, I live in a house. You have a conjugated verb right after. So what are you going to use? Yay! Qui. Très bien. Okay. So, same thing here. Put it on pause. And then I want you to go through, and for each one, I want you to highlight the word that tells you which one to pick. So it'll be the word right after the blank. So here you notice Paul, subject, vient, verb, aime, verb, je, subject. You have 2, so it's going to be que. You have verb, it's going to be qui. Now be careful here. La personne, this is still a subject here. Que vous cherchez. Qui est. Okay, you have a verb here, so you're going to use qui. You have a subject here, so you're going to use que. And you're going to use que. And you're going to use qui. Okay, next, I want you to find the listening and put it on. And what I want you to try is doing a dictée, which you don't have to, but it would be really good for your listening if you could do it, if you could write what you heard. But here is what you're going to hear with the answers. So once you do it, look at the answers. And we got this crazy thing happening here. Okay, and then in class we are going to play Kahoot. Okay, so I wish you a great day. Make sure you go back and do that second listening activity. It's really, really a good one. It's a practice quiz, actually. Okay, au revoir.